I want to start by asking people to like and subscribe. I don't do that, but I really would like to get the right people on board. I'm not looking to monetize the channel, so I'm not looking to get that up there, but I'm not hitting any YouTube algorithms. I'm not getting out there. And I think that there's people out there that I think would be beneficial to have on board. And it's just a matter of getting some exposure. I'm going to go way off topic on this video because I keep making videos on how to heal oneself while I'm watching the world looking like I'm referring to it as lemming mode. Let's talk about that for a second. What do we know about lemmings? There's this mythical idea that every once in a while their population gets so big that they commit mass suicide. And that's not exactly true. The lemmings actually, their population grows incredibly fast. Like every 4 years, there's a cycle where they just completely overrun their environment. And something naturally kicks into them where they just scatter. They go from place to place. They'll go to different valleys, different fields, different somewhere. The idea is to survive. You're not going to live where you are because there's not enough resources. You're all going to die now. Disease and all that stuff kicks in, starvation. Pretty soon you're cannibalizing each other, and that is life. But what they do, and why people think it's mass suicide is because sometimes they go into the water and they'll just swim. They actually don't know that they're going to die. They're just going off. They're simple creatures. If they hit a water crossing, they'll swim across. A lake, rivers, things like that, except that by the millions going through there, there's going to be many of them that die, so it looks like suicide. Or if they go to the ocean and swim, they don't know that they're not going to make it across. They're just following instinct. So it looks like they jumped in the ocean and swim, but they're just actually acting out, we're going to die. We have to go. Now, let's put on our God mode and go out in space and look at planet Earth. What I see is a bunch of lemmings with nowhere to go. Doesn't it look like that? People have become completely unreasonable, and this cyclically happens in humanity. Boy, there have been massive killings in countries and places. Who are some of these? Hitler, Mao Zedong, Stalin. Millions upon millions upon millions of people slaughtered for really no good reasons. That is always a potential in humanity. And humanity at some point in time thinks, well, we're above that. We're not doing it for that reason. We're doing it because you're evil. And here we are, going through an evolutionary process that was necessary for us to evolve, except that it is now a process that needs to be gone from humanity. I know I don't do a very good job sometimes explaining where I'm coming from with that whole evolutionary process thing and what we're doing and how we're acting out. What I see is in a species that is, we're trying to survive early on, and it's a struggle. It's tough. There's seasons. We're not in control of things. We're at the whim of the weather, the environment, the seasons, and all of that. And survival would be very difficult. There would be a lot of death. But there would be a lot of effort. There would be a lot of somehow whatever is working out that makes us emerge and grow. All of life itself is something that is a desire to live above all else. Fight or flight response. We're fearful of dying, and we want to live. And when things happen around us that we begin to recognize that life is not okay, something kicks in that pushes us away. We have different personalities, different likes. Some people want to stay grouped up. Some people want to leave. All of those are parts of, if you look at society, you go, that's all still happening right now. We now read and write and have an education that we didn't have back then, but those same drives are still there. We're still taking over somebody else's land. We are still trying to emerge as top. And when things get to, like if we feel like our resources are being diminished, I don't want borders up on the country, but I got borders on my house. We all have our spaces. And we have a world, there's something in us that we have to consider that we're trying to emerge beyond. And if we keep blaming each other and not looking at what the issue is, we're not going to resolve what's there. I think what's happened is that is still acting out. However, we have since developed enough to where we have values, and it's no longer okay to feel that way about other people. So how do we circumvent that? Through belief systems that give us a mental go-around and allow us to hurt each other because, oh, it's somebody else. It's I'm acting on somebody else's behalf, or you know what I mean? We're not taking responsibility for what is happening, and we're calling it evil, and then we're not fixing it. But facing it means letting go of comfort beliefs that are not true and denying true beliefs that are not comfortable. But we're hurting ourselves. Our planet, we don't have anywhere else to go now. We are modifying what we can of the resources genetically just to keep up with the population. And we're going to have to keep doing that unless, we're at a critical breaking point. We're approaching it very quick. Well, where are we going? Where are we going? That whatever is happening right now is amplifying. It's not going to go away. It's going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to bust. Yeah, it will. Not fun to watch. This is a cyclical thing that's observable. And the mechanisms for it to have happened before are still in place, and they're actually growing, and they're in action. The question then is, if we're about ready on the globe to have some sort of a massive out of control humanity reset, how do those of us that can see that happening, what do we do? How the hell do we survive a world of people who are blind? I have become completely convinced in my life that in order to take care of my own problems, I had to deal with them, open them up, look at them completely, see them in every possible way, until I realized that's just me hanging on to something. It is not a real issue. Only I make it so. But everybody has to do that. And by the billions upon billions, humans are not. We're not going to do that. Jesus is the only one I know of that has advice in there for this, perhaps. And that is that in the face of opposition, you don't say anything, you don't do anything. There are people right now that will just, if they had an opportunity, they would just drop you where you are. Why? Because you are them. What do they know about you? Nothing. They don't know that you have trouble, that you want to have success, that you want to be happy, that you struggle with your life, that you've been hungry, that you love your children, that you want success. You want the same things as anybody else. They don't know, and they don't care, and they won't see that, and they can't. There is a shutdown. Think for a second about the very idea of killing somebody that you don't even know and thinking that that is a good idea. What makes that possible for the human to do? It is only possible for a person to do that if they first demonize that individual, follow orders, or do whatever the case may be. We see in America a lot of veterans that have got PTSD and struggle with life and suicide because of having to go through those situations. And what do you do? How do you resolve that? But that's only one example. You know, Jesus teaches us to be able to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. That is because then we understand where they're coming from. It's not enough to love your friends and family because your enemy does that, but love your enemy too if you want to make the world a better place. That's not happening. Jesus says, I'm not a divider. We see divisions. We see shutdown. We see complete and total demonization very much in place in the headlines right now. It's complete. You can't unlock it from the outside. We have to step away from it, but it's still not fun, is it? Yeah, just being away. That's what I'm thinking of is, God, just try not to get into the way. There is so much anger and hatred. Unprecedented. Lies and accusations, people making up their own truth. And if there is something that is true that they don't like because it doesn't feel right to them, they just say it's a lie when it's not. People cannot see reality. And they will tell you within their world of bullshit that you don't see reality when you can look at them and go, my God, you people aren't looking at anything. You're just acting out your fears. There's no logic. And it's not little. Okay, and I've made similar videos to this before, and I appreciate everybody that says, Dan, are you okay? And I say again, well, no. I mean, I try to laugh it off and everything, but at the end of the day, you can see something happening that you wish you can. You know that in order to change patterns, they have to be interrupted. And you see this pattern and you see it's not interrupted. That it's gotten bigger and it's at the highest. Adult leadership is gone. We are on some kind of autopilot thinking that there is some excuse in the world, that those excuses aren't real. That's just what we tell ourselves. So, yeah, we got a problem. Anyway, I don't know what to say. I've started doing things like slowly collecting cans of baked beans or something, in a can opener. Something that's ready to eat that doesn't require being cooked and water, ready. I used to camp all the time and I had water filters for, getting water in the field where there's cattle and things like that. You have to filter water. And so I've got stuff like that all in an emergency pack, fishing rod and stuff. Yeah, that's a little over the top, isn't it? But, one of those resets looks like it's emerging, and because the unreasonableness is so huge that it's astounding. It's astounding. There's no way to interact with it. It's a monster, an out of control monster that's going to do something. I don't like these videos, but I make my other ones and feel like I'm being a Pollyanna here. I see something different, and you want to somehow stop that. At the same time, well, this is my interest. I'm finding this now, so I'm trying to figure it out now. And I myself was on autopilot and almost said, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you on the next one. But honestly, I didn't enjoy the video. They're not fun. These ones aren't, are they? But I'm going to stay focused on what I'm doing, and I know that it's important to stay unwrapped from that and just work together. Love one another. I'll see you in the next video.